Welcome back, beautiful souls, to the channel. Today we're going to be jumping into an energy update video for this Scorpio new moon that is happening on November 13th, 2023, 3 days before the day of and 3 days after, and how it will affect you. I always say that it's a moon week, it's not just a moon day. And with Scorpio, we're really tapping into the energy of death, rebirth, manifestation, and much more. So I'm going to be pulling out some cards, channeling for you, sharing just more of what to expect, how it will affect you. Before we get into the video, hello, I'm Shika. If this is our first time meeting, I would love for you to introduce yourself down below. I am a medicine woman and I help space holders learn how to hold and share their gifts, embody their gifts to help their community and be abundant while doing so. So if that is something of your interest, welcome to the community and we're so happy you are here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe. It helps the community a lot. YouTube sometimes will not show the content to some of the people who are following. So if you can, it does help a lot, and let me know, how you're feeling in the Scorpio new moon. Couple other things I want to share with you guys. The Earth Dharma program is open. I'm actually in Brazil as you're watching this. I am not here in the lands of Canada. I am in Brazil. So I'm hosting the initiation for the students now before they spread their wings and share all that they've learned to their community fully. So now we have opened the applications for the next space holder training for 2024. It's a 1-year program, the Earth Dharma training program, that teaches you how to be a space holder. We cover various modalities, chakra systems, how to hold space, altars, protecting your energy. Then there's also an in-person initiation, a retreat. There's an abundance of stuff, and you also get alumni support community, and there's some big projects happening for us, for you, for me, and everyone. So if you are looking for, in this time, in this stage of your life, to really tap into your gifts, because the new earth is here and so many people are awakening, and we need more integral space holders that can bring and really activate the gifts that they have to help their communities and come together and work together for this world. So you can apply down below, starting with the meditation, and the rest will lead you there with your emails. You'll get emails for the application form and so on. But I'm looking forward to seeing what 10 souls are going to be filling this space. I can feel the energy already. The last thing I want to share with you guys is my retreats. I have plant medicine retreats that are coming up for all the email list people. There are some special things coming up. So if you aren't on the email list, do yourself a favor and please add yourself on it, because there are some offerings that I only offer to email list and one-on-ones. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, having a one-on-one session, you can email me and we can schedule one. Hi guys, it's Shika from the future, and you guys know when I do this, it means I forgot something in the video. So I forgot to also mention that I am going to be doing a Scorpio new moon breathwork. I'm so excited. It's going to be happening on November 13th, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I would love to see you there. So with that being said, you can go and book it down below. And yeah, it's going to be magical. We're going to be tapping into manifesting, meeting, shedding those last things of death and stepping into new manifestations and birth and rebirth and claiming that through our emotions. So it'll be really potent. Also, I'm celebrating it because it's my birthday month. So I'd love for you guys to come and celebrate together, fellow Scorpios. Anyways, that's it. Back to the video. Okay, now that all this information is out, let's get into it, Chica. Let's talk about the Scorpio new moon. Okay, Scorpio new moon. Any Scorpios? I am a Scorpio here. Any other Scorpios? Scorpio sun here. Where is Scorpio in your chart? If you're not a Scorpio, it will still affect you the following ways. But if you are a Scorpio, it's going to affect you more in these houses. So you can always look at your birth chart to see where that will affect you the most and go from there. So the first thing you need to know about this Scorpio new moon that's happening on November 13th, 2023, 3 days before the day of and 3 days after, and how it will affect you. All emotions that are meant to be met and are avoided shall be revealed. Scorpio are this energy of quiet, psychic, intuitive, very, very sensitive, empathic, right? So with this new moon, it being in the dark, we can't see the moon, but yet it's showing us a lot of shadow. So what are the shadow emotions that we've been avoiding? And I just want to kind of connect it back with you guys with the energy update we did with the Taurus lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out and like binge through that, because I always connect each moon to the next one so you can know what to expect and why things happen the way they did the last moon. So last month in October, when we had the eclipse, it was all about like being in the washing machine, essentially. We were changing, shifting, chaos. There was a lot going on. It was just random outbreaks of emotions that were coming. It's like almost like you feel like the storm is coming. That's what I heard from Spirit, right? So not in a bad way, but like what happens after a storm, right? It feels like a reset. After it is a reset, essentially. That's how Mother Earth resets herself, through storms. So us as humans naturally need to have our energetic storms. So here it's really teaching you that there is like a storm, like almost like a energy storm that you are tapping into. And that storm of emotions, when we tap into Scorpio, is the element of water. What does water represent? Our heart. Water also represents the energy of flow. So we are cleansing our emotions, whatever has been hidden, whatever we've been kind of holding and pretending I'm good, I'm okay, but you really are feeling that it's going to come up during the Scorpio new moon. Now there's another emotion as well, which I like to talk about, the shadow and also the light of it. But there are other emotions that we tend to not gravitate to because we're always looking at the dark. We're always looking at the shadow, right? And one of the biggest things to ask yourself is like, why are you waiting for you to have everything together in order for you to make the changes that you need to make? Take a second. Because a lot of people are seeing through the emotions that these changes that were called for you to have done during the eclipse, and those of you who didn't do your homework, those of you that didn't listen to the new moon, the full moon, the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse last month, it's like now is the real volcano moment. For those of you who did listen to it, now you're like even seeing even more how emotionally gratitude you've had. Like it's like a rebirth for you. You're grateful for the changes. It's out of your comfort zone. It feels like a baby learning how to walk, but it's making you emotional, but not in a bad way. It's almost like there's some tenderness. You might feel bursts of crying for gratitude for no reason, or burst of crying because you feel overwhelmed with all the changes. Take a breath, take a moment, take a break, and really tune into what is this Scorpio showing me, this Scorpio new moon showing me that I have to look at. But I do feel like there's a lot of like derooting some deep emotions around this time, as Scorpio does. And it's really focusing on the tears, the clearing and cleansing our waters, or recoding our waters, which essentially means our energy, our inner body. The next thing you need to know about this Scorpio new moon that's happening on November 13th, 2023, 3 days before, the day of, and 3 days after, and how it will affect you. The desire that you want, or what you want exactly, has to be clear. So it's becoming clearer and clearer, and you're speaking it into existence. So ask yourself, what do you want? This is a great new moon to manifest. It's a great moon to manifest. When we look at new moons, it's all about new beginnings. It's about relationships. It's about environment. It's about fertility. These are the beautiful things about Scorpio. And Scorpio is it's a fixed sign. So a lot of you fixed signs, such as Taurus and so on, you guys are going to feel it the most. You're going to probably feel the most emotions. And this is like, again, I've literally had all October and it was literally chaos because Taurus also is there. So be like really gentle with yourself. But one of the biggest things I want you to do is ask yourself, be clear with what you want, because you might think you're being clear with what you want and you're not. And it was almost like this trigger or this emotional chaos that happened prior to this Scorpio new moon, and even throughout October, had to happen in order for you to do that. Like, let me give you an example for myself. Recently, I'm noticing that I want to do a lot of things for you guys in community, and Earth Dharma is like a big mission. And my biggest heart center mission is to make sure that people have someone that they can connect to in community anywhere, conscious community. And that requires, light beamers, I like to call them, guides. And that's what this program's all about. So when I was tapping into the program, I noticed that I'm doing more and more for you guys. I'm grateful that over the 7 years I had so many gifts that I've attained. And I'm sure you too, think about the experiences you've had. Think about the job that you quit, but you didn't really like. Think about the job that you outgrown, right? Every single job or responsibility that you've done, even if it wasn't your purpose, was actually a purpose in itself, because you needed to have that experience, because it's going to help you with your actual purpose. Does that make sense? So it pushes us to go where we need to go. And we kind of get gifts along the way every time we drop something and we let it go, which this Scorpio New Moon is about death as well. It's like realizing, okay, I've shed a lot last month. I've shed a lot this season, and take a breath, feeling it, grieving it a little bit, and being celebrating it too. It's like a mixture of grieving and celebrating. It's like laughing, crying is the feeling I'm getting. So the best way of explaining is, as I was going through this Envision, I had this big download that came through, and it was understanding that with the Scorpio New Moon, you can't do things alone. And what Scorpio New Moon is teaching us is how can we create our visions and get what we want, but also not be afraid to ask for help. Not be afraid to call in our community and not reject them when they come to us, right? Because again, I said this with many people, the version of you that is making decisions, the version of you that is, deciding what to do, what not to do, this version of you doesn't understand what's going on, doesn't understand the rebirth. It's not for your human to understand. So the best thing to do is when we get through a big cleanse with this new moon in Scorpio, and it's cleansing our emotions. Emotions is the seed of manifestations. So if we're feeling an emotion that we haven't processed, without us even knowing, that can be a block to us manifesting things into our life, no matter how much we want it to change. So what we're learning from this beautiful water's energy and this water sign of clearing and cleansing, we're also learning the power of creation with water, right? When we water a plant and a seed, what happens? It grows, right? Alongside with the sun and the various things. It's not just watering the plant that's going to help it grow. It's the sun, it's the nutrients it has. So my question is, maybe you're doing one specific thing for your manifestation, and you have to look at it at a broader space and try new things for it to create itself. Maybe you're not allowing other people, or maybe rejecting criticism or feedback or help, and that can actually support your plant to grow faster, right? Instead of be stagnant or even die, right? So it's really telling us, what do we want, but also how can we approach it differently, and what are our emotions telling us that isn't working for us for our manifestations. And in doing that, we're asking this new moon thank you for this clarity. Thank you for all that you're sharing with me. I'm ready to step into this new energy. I'm ready to step into this new space. So a great tip for you is to write down what you want, be specific, and then ask yourself, what is my emotions telling me during this new moon that I need to focus on, that I'm not looking at? And allow myself to witness that shadow, because the moment I let myself see that shadow of myself, of where I'm avoiding me and avoiding what I want, is when I create more spaciousness for me to actually receive it, but for it to also continue to grow in my life, right? And that's why I always tell people that manifesting it's your birthright, but the process of human and our purpose as a human is to understand how to hold that energy, to be a pillar of that energy. So you see a lot of people that if you were to give them, for example, you hear this all the time, people get millions of dollars and then they just spend it. And I find it so fascinating, because how we manifest abundance is not receiving it only. It's being able to be that frequency. And if we were to just receive it, it's even harder for some people, because then you have to already have that money physically, and you're holding it with the energy of maybe someone who feels broke or scarce. The opposite can happen, where you want the money, but you feel abundant and you're like, why isn't anything happening? Because you're waiting in the waiting room from spirit to think that you have to have the permission of that money to drop on your lap to be abundant. Boom, drop the mic, right? So there's a lot of decoding like that that's happening through your emotions, and you're just like really witnessing it, but take action with it. Write down a plan of what you're gonna do. What in your means right now can you do to harvest what you want when it comes? The next thing you need to know about this Scorpio new moon that's happening on November 13th, 2023, and how it will affect you 3 days before, the day of, and 3 days after. This is a great new moon to manifest the new changes and new beginnings of the past month and the chaos that happened in the spaces of the eclipse. Okay, you were tired, you're exhausted, you weren't sleeping very well, you know, a lot of changes, lucid dreaming, probably up at strange hours of the day, like all that probably happened. If it did, let me know with a fire emoji down below and tell me what are the weird things that happened for you during eclipse. Now it's time to rebalance it. Now it's time to understand why, right? And sometimes spirit has to stretch us. And this is something I want to talk about that's been a theme recently. Scorpio New Moon, what it's teaching us is that tension and resistance are the two emotions that allow us to tap into expansion. So there's resistance of feeling that in that pit of your stomach, like something isn't right. And then there's the other energy of resistance people don't talk about, where it's like, it feels right, but it also feels different, right? And I've never been here before, and I feel like I don't know anything. Funny enough, the more you do your work on yourself, the more you learn you don't know everything. You don't know. You really don't. You just do the best you can in this present moment. So here it's really like letting go of what happened, regulating the body now, letting that exhale, that last exhale out. And in doing that, in this Scorpio new moon, you are now asking yourself, now that the chaos has created, the storm has passed, what do you want to create in this new land, in this new space? The energy's moved. Don't hold on to the chaos. Move on. That's your answer. So if you're thinking, if there's something that you have to move on from, this is your sign to move on. Whatever comes up to you when I say that. The next thing you need to know about Scorpio New Moon, November 13th, 2023, 3 days before the day of, 3 days after. Do not hate the messenger. This is just the energy. Breakups of partnerships and relationships. Some of y'all have been asking your partners to show up and commit, and they haven't, right? They won't. You know they won't. But there's a part of you of this wound of unworthiness, and I'm going to be very specific. This part of you of feeling alone, feeling scared to be alone, feeling scared that like this is your only option, and it's not. And it's almost like when you leave that friendship and that relationship, you're gonna be like, what was I thinking, right? But there's a shadow that is probably attached to this person, making this relationship codependent, and it's not good for your next chapter. So a good portion of you will go through breakup. You already know. You feel it. Maybe when you are feeling it. When I'm talking to you right now in this video, you're like, Sheikah, I already know. I just don't know what to do. And what you need to do is ask yourself, how important is it for you? How important is your emotional intelligence, your emotional being? How important is it for you to be safe? You know, I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying that someone that they connected with had this masculine safetiness, and they've never felt it before. And the biggest thing to say is that when we're so used to being in a chaotic environment, especially for Scorpio, when you're in a chaotic environment, it's like when it's quiet and settled, you think something's wrong. That's usually a trauma response from an emotion that was not safe to be expressed in the past, right? So what's happening in this relationship is that there's a pattern that is being shown in the light, well, shown in the dark in this case because it's the new moon, and this emotion is showing and it's not being expressed. Like your throat, you already know, for those of you who are going to go through that breakup, your throat chakra feels really locked up. So if it's someone that you've been kind of like, they're not, you know, they're not going to give you what you want. They're not serious. Do not put your standards lower, because when you're putting your standards lower, that shows me that you don't feel comfortable saying no in not just relationships, in all aspects of your life. Then you have to look at tracking that emotion of no, where that first specific prominent time was that no didn't feel safe, right? reclaiming that, and as well in doing that, reclaiming your yes. Because if your no is not 100%, your yes is definitely not 100% either. So I'm feeling like there's like this vulnerability that has not been accessed in the relationship, and it's needed for you guys to go through this experience. And I always say that all relationships, even the traumatic, emotionally traumatic ones, when we leave that relationship, we're doing something for them and for you equally. You're giving each other respect of your space, and you're also respecting your journey, and a choice to heal your emotional traumas, your emotional shadows, and to be vulnerable with yourself first. Because you not being vulnerable with that person, or that person not being vulnerable with you, or that person not committing to you, is a mirror of that exact feeling that you get from that person where you're not committing to yourself. So how we attract that relationship is because it's a lack of commitment, and it's based on a subconscious shadow that comes from an emotion that you don't feel safe to express. So once you are able to really focus on that, once the partnership and the friendship has some space, you ask yourself, okay, for me not to attract this again, I want to receive the lesson. And the lesson is, where am I not being vulnerable in this relationship? Where am I feeling scared to commit? Where am I not committing to myself? Write those questions down. It's going to really help you out. I also feel like, again, there's a big pivot that's going collectively, where a lot of people are being called to shift into a deeper consciousness. There's new beings. I've been seeing a lot of new cosmic beings in the earth plane, living in earth plane. And the message that I've been receiving from them is that we're being called to really call in divine unionship. So what that means is that there's a lot of relationships or partners, and maybe one of them is being pulled to another soulmate. We have thousands of soulmates, and that pull to that other soulmate with choice is to help them with that divine unionship for the collective energy and for themselves. So yeah, it's almost like a pivot, similar to when we had that whole situation where we were at home for 2-3 years, where a lot of people actually broke up. It was because one of the partners decided to come with the new earth and the other partner decided not to. Yeah. So there's a big shift. Now on the other side of that, some of y'all are going to get a lot of abundance as far as like engagement, good news in a relationship, because you already went through this process. You went on the verge of almost breaking up or a friendship. There's a group of you guys who are in this type of relationship, and right now you're getting the reaps of your rewards. So your relationship is feeling good. It's feeling amazing. It's more balanced, which is really exciting. Okay, so the next thing you need to know about this Scorpio New Moon, my hands are so sweaty, on November 13th, 2023, 3 days before the dam and 3 days after. I also have a heat pad underneath my bum. I always put a heat pad on because like my back, I always get cold, and I forget when I'm channeling, I get so hot, Okay, so energy drainers will need to be cleared. Cord cutting is called to be done. I have a cord cutting video. If you guys want to check it out, I posted a very long time. I might even post one on TikTok as an updated one. I also go over how to teach you how to cord cut in my Earth Dharma training program for people who hold space. So if that's something you're interested in, clearing energy, and that's something that you feel is your gift, definitely check that out. Energy drainers are huge. With Scorpio signs being a lot of the signs that are very intuitive and psychic, like Pisces, for example, as well as Scorpio, they tend to see things that people don't see, right? And the moon is showing you what people don't see, and also what you might not see. So what's happening with here is like, because you're feeling so much emotional upheaval, like so much is rising up for you, it feels like you don't have time for energy drainers. And it's like their energy, where they're sucking your energy gets revealed during this time. And then you have to ask yourself, what do you need to do for your energetic hygiene? So for example, smudging. You should be doing smudging all the time. If you're watching my channel, my YouTube channel, smudging should be part of your everyday routine, like brushing your teeth, okay? During this new moon in Scorpio, 3 days before the dam and 3 days after, November 13th, you should be smudging. You know why? Because especially now you're releasing so much with the waters. You want to make sure that you're moving that out of your house as well as your space so you can keep being cleansed and have clarity. If you feel really foggy, smudge. If you feel like before you go to bed, you check your room, smudge. Open the windows. I have a whole video on how to smudge properly. You can go check that out. But again, smudging will be supportive for you. Cord cutting is a whole other thing that I teach. I'm not going to go into it. To be honest with you, the video that I even posted, thinking about it right now, there's so much more that I know about cord cutting that I don't even think it's applicable. Like, you could do it if you want to learn about it a little bit. But there's certain cords that are for clearing and certain ones that you cut. You need to kind of know energetically where that is. But if you are comfortable with it or you want to do a cord cutting, you're more than happy to book a session with me or to find someone to do so. Or if you feel like you are able to do that, because cord cutting is important around this time of the new moon, before you set your intentions in manifesting. Now, not everyone has to cord cut, but this is something that I did feel is like energy drainers, energy vampires, people call them, like people who just like suck the life force energy out of you. It's because you're letting them. So you have to ask yourself, what part of you is letting them suck that energy? What part of you feels like you have to save them, or you don't feel powerful to say no, to hold your stand, right? And it's important to go back to this, because what energy drainers teach us is where we're not managing our energy for ourselves, and also where we're not like opening ourselves to putting energy to create into what we came here to do, right? You know, we all have special gifts. Your gifts are different than my gifts. My gifts are different than your gifts. Your neighbor's gifts are different than everyone has gifts. Even the aunt or uncle that doesn't believe in this world, right? They don't feel like they connect to it just yet. But all this to say is that like we all have gifts that we came here to share. And when we don't step into those gifts, claim those gifts, or feel unsafe to be in those gifts, we can easily give it away. It's not our fault, right? But it also is, because we're allowing it. But now that you know, it's your responsibility. So the Scorpio New Moon is teaching us what are some new ways that we can manage and really give gratitude to our gifts, but also not, give away our power, give away our energy, give away our space of who we are. You are a reincarnation of your ancestors. Never forget that. What that means is whatever gifts they have, there are some gifts that we get that are from our ancestors. And even if your ancestors in this lifetime don't understand the gifts you have and what you do, they, in the other realm, when they transition, they actually are more understanding. And it's a blessing for you and for them. When you do your healing, it goes to them as well. So you're healing for them and for everyone else. So I always say, when we hide our gifts and we don't connect with our energy and manage our energy, that is a disservice to everyone that is connected and related to us. So again, this Scorpio New Moon is beautiful. I really love the energy of it. There's a lot of psychic energy, very attuned, a lot of clairaudient awareness that's coming up. A lot of things will be revealed in the shadow and emotions coming up, but it is an opportunity to reset in a new power, right? And it's also a time where we get to choose what we want, right? We're not dilly-dallying. There's no time to be like, I kind of want, I don't know, but like, no, you are forced through your emotions to figure out what you want. And sometimes that means to feel like we're in the corner and we have no other choice, like spirit's backing us up in the corner. But then we look behind and we say, wow, there's actually a whole other opportunity, choices, and options that I have here, which is amazing. So last thing that I will share with you guys for the Scorpio New Moon before we get into the cards is that this season is the biggest words that came up for me is manifestation, death, and new beginnings, right? So the endings, new beginnings, there is no ending. There is merely eternal beginnings. Remember that. That is a mantra to remember when I was tuning into that. And that manifestations are to manifest within our energy and emotions. So whatever emotions that you have is going to manifest something within you, whether you want it to or not. So be consciously aware during this new moon. Sacral chakra is very activated. So for all the wombs, to just be aware of if you're on your bleed, like how is your bleed? What is the like what is the color of your bleed, what is the energy, you're grieving, you're in a ceremony itself. Like when you bleed every single month, it's a ceremony. So if you are matching with the Scorpio new moon, it's talking about life, death, relationship. That's where that's coming up. Grieving in your environment, grieving something in your relationship and in your family. So see what is coming up around that. Okay, let's get into these cards. I actually chose a deck that I usually don't really pull out often for you guys, and I'm really excited for it. So I chose this deck, which I love, by Alan Fairchild. And every time I see this deck, it's like, I find like it's me in a deck, but it's also like, it's just like Scorpio vibes, you know? I feel like it's like plants. It's so good. Okay, so just breathing into your body, connecting with what you feel like you want clarity with. Scorpio New Moon. Okay, I think I'm only gonna do this deck. I was gonna do that other deck, but my Oracle deck, but I'm not gonna do that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you got 6. We got Puo, which is guardian of Amuaka. Okay, I'm gonna show you the cards first. Then we have time to cross the threshold, Chakana. How potent are these decks, right? Then you get Mama Kuyala, Mandela of the moon. Hello, the moon is, look at the cycles of the moon. Anya Durga, power of the good. Bring in some Durga energy, shall we? Kuntur Yadak, which is blessings from the sun, and the Hanan Pacha. Condor medicine there. Blessings of Kumu. So let's go into this card. What I'm seeing from this card, let's start with the beginning. You have Puru Amanak. You have two potent things. Here you have the owl on both sides. Owls represent shadow, like shadow being revealed. Scorpio, hello, death, rebirth, new moon, it's in the dark, shadow. So this one is really giving me the energy. Close your eyes and listen to what shadows are being told to you. The inside of your third eye is opening. Lucid dreams, be aware of your dreams, be aware of your thoughts, be aware of your psychic downloads. They are what are going to tell you what theme, what needs to be reset, and what do you want. Claiming that. So third eye activation there. Power of the good. Stepping into the good even if it doesn't make sense to you, right? You don't always have to be right. Be mindful of your emotions and that your shadow won't react and just splat out because your pride's getting hurt. So be aware. Do what is good. Power comes from the heart, not from the mind. Remember that. Clarity comes from the heart, not from the mind. It's coming up as well. The next card that we have is time to threshold, between two worlds, right? Death and rebirth. You feel what's leaving your life, you're grieving that, but you also feel like there's so much being created at the same time. So allowing yourself to balance both death and rebirth, and not just focusing on what you're grieving or not just focusing on what you're creating, balancing the two worlds, seeing it from a bigger picture, which is beautiful. And I love this card because you have the hummingbirds on the side. I don't know if you can see that. Hummingbirds are the medicine of sweet nectar of life. They represent the sweetness of the life that we have created for ourselves and the sweetness of life that is to become itself. It's eternal. And that we need to remember that even though this is a new moon in the dark, there is sweetness in this dark too. There's sweetness in solitude. There is sweetness in the quietness within our emotions. Where are we distracting ourselves to avoid that sweetness of silence and solitude? Mandela moon. Again, I'm really just going to say this is just be mindful of the patterns of each moon and what emotions throughout this year you've avoided. This will all be shown in this new moon in Scorpio and revealed to you. You're getting kind of a recap of the year. And in this recap, it's making you understand what you want and what you have to get done. So it's about go and get it done, okay? Get those new beginnings, get them done. You don't have to understand how you're going to do it. just do it. Kuntur, which is blessings from the sun, Hanan Pacha. Again, remember what I told you. Waters of the Scorpio, cleansing the waters, but we also need sun. We need nutrients in the soil. So you can't do this vision alone. The Condor medicine is representing the East and the West. Condor Eagle medicine, which represents us blending between learning how to live as a human, but also be a spirit, right? We can't be one or the other only. So the Condor is just telling us here that there's blessings here from Pachamama, and we have to receive the blessings of the sun. Ask the sun to clear and cleanse anything that's no longer serving you. The sun is what allows us to live and have life, connects us with the hummingbird spirit, which is all about life. So again, this is a very introspective new moon, which is talking to us about, how can we appreciate life more? Why are we here for life? You're going to receive a lot of messages on that, and just this next shift. You also have a butterfly in this one, blessings of Kumu. No good things shall be withheld. Nothing's being hidden from you. The universe doesn't hate you. It doesn't matter what theme you're in, whether it's shadow, whether it's light, whatever is coming up. Just remembering that all good things will come to you at the end. And even if you end up ending a relationship or not knowing what's next for a relationship, just remembering that you're being held and trusting that you're guided. So these are your cards. I think these are beautiful. This was like, I feel deep, but also like a very beautiful, like it makes sense reading kind of thing. And I don't even know why I said that, but yeah, it just feels like some of the deepness that we've had for the eclipse was potent. And this is just like a recap. It's like the summary of it all, a summary of the venture. So let me know down below what hit for you. What are some new beginnings that you're claiming to come? And also what emotions are being prevailed to you. Don't forget that I am hosting the Earth Dharma program next year. It's a training that allows you to teach you how to hold space abundantly through your heart, and it's a very in-depth training and program if you've been wanting to learn how to up-level your space holding and step into abundance with it, or you have never done a training and you want to learn how to expand and learn how to hold space for your communities and help guide people to heal with your gifts. This is the space for you. I know that there are 10 very potent souls, and for those of you who are holding this resistance, I call on you to follow the resistance as this moon has shown us, and to apply, better to know and to try than to be standing there in the resistance and not know it all. And the last thing I want to share is, don't forget, we have a breath work in Scorpio on November 13th, which is this day. That is the exact day of our new moon in Scorpio, and it's at 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. You can register down below, bring your aunts, your family, everyone. I hope to see you there. It's going to be beautiful. We're manifesting the new beginnings that are within our emotions, calling us to be called, to be claimed, to be recalled, to manifest, to sprinkle it all in. You know the drill. It's a manifestation breath work. It's gonna be amazing, and I'm really excited to see some new faces and old faces. I also have my retreats and my one-on-ones. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can email me in my link tree down below. All the information is in the description. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share with your friends. It helps a lot, and I will see you in the next video. I'll be posting a meditation for you guys so you're all set for your rituals. Okay,